What's cracking, traders? XehrFelrose here, bringing you some Pokemon GO Battle League content. And in today's video, we're taking a look at the team that carried me up to expert rank in the Halloween Cup. And it was actually a team that I featured in my team guide video for the Halloween Cup a couple of days ago. But in case you didn't catch it, we are running a Greninja on the lead. Bro, I love this. Every time I get a chance to bust this thing out, it's like one of the pride and joys of my account. The shiny rank 1 Greninja for the Great League here. And behind it, we're going to be running a Forretress, Bug Bite, and Double Tomb. And then we're also going to be running a Shadow Mudslap Nidoqueen. Now, as far as this team goes, Greninja is meant to core break as it does very well into most of the common meta leads. And then you have Forretress and Nidoqueen, which are both incredibly strong core mates with the Greninja to cover it in the back. Nidoqueen is typically going to be your safe switch in a bad lead. And honestly, if you don't have a Shadow Nidoqueen, I wouldn't say you need it. I use Shadow because I actually don't have a non-Shadow built on my account, or even one that I can build. So I was kind of forced to use my Shadow, but it did really well. The Mud Slaps just, they're crazy, dude. Let's get into the games here. Let's go for it. Now, I was saying how this Greninja beats all the, common leads, and then, of course, the first game with this team, I see a Togetic. So I don't know what we do with that, but we're going to be looking to stay in here and go for some Hydro Cannons, look to put some pressure on this Togetic here, and try to see if we can't, try and maybe get some shield advantage here, just get rid of this thing. I'm hopeful that if the opponent has a flyer in the lead, it means that they're probably not going to have a strong response to Nidoqueen in the back. I could be completely wrong about this, however, and the opponent is getting low enough here that I am okay with just throwing Night Slashes, and they call it, don't shield, and they have another move to boot. However, I don't think this is enough for a Dazzling Gleam. I'm going to let it go and call a Size Shock, and thankfully, we were correct. The opponent's Togetic goes down. They have a Greninja of their own in the back, and at this point, I don't want to bring in my Nidoqueen. I don't want to pivot. I have to give them this farm, which doesn't feel good, but then they take that Hydro Cannon, and I'm thinking, man, I'm going to bring in my Forretress, and surely at the HP range that it's at, we can save a shield for Nidoqueen, and we're going to do just that. Forretress on Double Tomb. You could run Earthquake if you want to. I don't hate it. However, I think that Bug Bite is significantly better than Volt Switch in this meta, specifically because of this thing right here. Nidoqueen being on almost every team, if not every other team. It's just, dude. Nidoqueen is everywhere. Be ready for it. Play with caution. If you're going to be playing in this format, you need to be able to deal with Nidoqueen. By the way, Shadow Nidoqueen just came in and one-shot the rest of that Nidoqueen. The health bar it was at wasn't enough to withstand the Mud Slap. If you put a defense drop or two on an opposing Nidoqueen, it's going to do so much damage per Mud Slap. It's crazy. All right. Trying to get my brain back together here. The opponent has a Shadow Nidoqueen of their own in the lead, and they have the Greninja now. We're going to be going for a Night Slash, but I'm going to farm up a little bit past the opponent's Poison Fang here. They're going to throw one, and I'm expecting them to probably try and catch a move here at this point, but I want the extra farm. I was actually expecting them to try and make a catch of their own when they were staying in, so I was a little bit baffled, but that just means to me that the opponent's probably core broken by the Greninja, and so they have a Greninja of their own in the back. Again, Greninja and Nidoqueen are a very common core in this meta. I think Forretress was the glue that kind of helped this team stay together. But like Nidoqueen can just shield and farm this down if it needs to. Also, when you're up against an opposing Nidoqueen, you can simply just swap in your own Nidoqueen most of the time if they have energy, because Nidoqueen resists the Poison Fang and Stone Edge. You can run Earth Power if you like. I have seen some trainers running Earth Power, so you do. I wouldn't like hedge my game plan on an opponent running Earth Power, because Stone Edge was helpful, but it's good to know just in case. Good game to that opponent here. We are going to get into the next one. Greninja picks up another nice lead against a Corsola. The opponent swaps right into their Greninja. They're behind by a turn, but they have a shiny Greninja, which means I must respect them because shiny Greninja is absolutely sick. We're going to be able to get some free damage here and then go for the Forretress. The reason why I say free damage is because when you swap, it takes a turn, and then they're behind, in this case, by one turn. So I can go for the Hydro Cannon without them being able to get to one of their own, and then I can just bring in my Forretress and just start farming. Now, the opponent brings in their Galarian Corsola. Makes sense. It resists the Bug Bites. It's going to be able to farm down my Forretress, but not before I'm able to fire off a Rock Tomb. And at this rate, I'll be able to fire off a second one if the opponent doesn't throw their energy, which they do. Very nice counting right before I get to my Rock Tomb. They kind of had to, though, honestly. But we're going to be able to keep switch advantage. Greninja's going to be very happy to take this energy as well. After the opponent has been Rock Tomb debuffed, there's really not, like, Power Gem's going to do some damage. It's respectable, but not going to be enough to do much here to the Greninja. The opponent has a Tinkaton in the back, which is what I've actually seen behind most Galarian Corsola leads. We have a Nidoqueen for that. Now, I also found out that Tinkaton can also two-shot with Bulldoze against Shadow Nidoqueen. The non-Shadow can live it. So, quite honestly, I do think that a non-Shadow Nidoqueen is probably the way to go just for, like, most of the matchups that you're going to see. Opponent brings in their own Nidoqueen, however, into mine, and they're behind, and that means they're going to have to take a Poison Fang before I take a Poison Fang. And watch the difference. That is so much Mud Slap damage. And I'm okay with that. The opponent going to go for their own Poison Fang? Okay, we're going to be able to get the farm down because they did take that Poison Fang first. And now the opponent is going to come in with their Greninja, which is perfectly fine with me. We're going to be able to fire off a Poison Fang here. This could get a shield or do huge damage. The opponent doesn't want to risk it. Now we're going to bring in our Greninja here into the mirror and look to go for a Hydro Cannon. I can't tell if I lose CMP or if the game gives me one turn lag. I get one turn lag more than anyone, more than I've ever seen. And there it was, that was one turn lag. So we're going to now go for the Hydro Cannon. The opponent is debuffed, which means we should be okay here to just go for the Hydro Cannon, do a lot of damage. The opponent does not shield it. I'm going to let this go. Even if it's a Hydro Cannon, I'm just going to bank on my Forretress being an absolute just Giga Chad in this endgame. And the opponent knows it. They're going to concede immediately upon seeing the Forretress. Good game, well played. I say good game, well played, but it's like they concede. Was it really? From their perspective, it probably wasn't. It's like, geez, this guy's a Forretress. Are you kidding me? I know the feeling, though. Greninja mirror leads. What I'm going to do here, and what I should do here, and I've changed the way that I play this because I was not very familiar with how to play this mirror. Go for Night Slash first. Then start going for Hydro Cannon, because once you land the Night Slash, the Hydro Cannon will still be able to KO, I believe. It's very close, and opponents will typically end up shielding after that first move, especially if you win Charge Attack priority, which if you have an attack-weighted Greninja is very likely. You now see the difference of damage by going for a Night Slash and a Hydro Cannon. It's almost enough to get a knockout anyway. So we're going to be getting a farm down here. I'm going to take the energy that I can get on my Greninja here, and the opponent's going to have a Shadow Golurk, but it's on Astonish, which is really interesting to me. It would eviscerate the mirror with super effective Astonishes, but because they're on Astonish, I'm going to be able to safely bring in my Nidoqueen, and I'm going to take a Shadow Punch on the chin. The opponent, however, is going to stay in, and they're still getting shredded by these Mud Slaps, man. It's just crazy how much damage this fast move will do in this cup. Mud Slap is absolutely busted. The opponent lives on 1 HP. They have a Nidoqueen in the back, and I'm going to bluff that I have Earthquake, at least try to. The opponent going to go for a Poison Fang immediately here. Does not bother to even build up to a Stone Edge, so I know I don't need to shield this. I would have shielded, though, if they had ended up going up to a Stone Edge, but the opponent also kind of recognizes that they just need the Mud Slap damage here in order to win the game, but they are going to respect the Earthquake. I'm going to be going for another Sand Tomb, and I believe I had a move banked on the Greninja, and so... No, I didn't. All right. No, I'm thinking of another game. Ha! Okay. With the debuff, though, we're going to be able to Bug Bite down with Forretress. The opponent's Golurk has 1 HP left, and we're going to be able to take the game well played. And we take a 5-0 on the first set, which feels really good considering how the game has been treating me in the ladder recently. I've just been getting hard countered, my face off. And it really, like, it makes it hard to, like, come back in the neutral games and outplay opponents when you're tilting by getting hard countered. Anyway, this is the expert set. There were 6 sets played. We went 5-0, then we had 4 3-2s and a 3-1-1 where one of them was a tie. This is the 3-2 that got me to expert, but if you want to check out the entirety of all 6 sets that I played with this team, I did stream this team over here on Tuesday on the channel. By the way, if you have been here this long and still watching, thank you very much. I'll get back to the gameplay in just a minute. Just want to plug that I'm streaming Tuesday and Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern. I would love to see you there. It was a lot of fun to play this team, and we had a bunch of people watching. It was awesome. We have a Carbink in the next game. And the thing that is important to remember about seeing a Carbink lead is that they are guaranteed to have a very strong answer to Nidoqueen in the back, because that is like the one big hard answer to a Carbink in this meta. So I really don't feel like I can safely swap out Nidoqueen unless I have an advantage of some sort. I take the shield advantage that I've got and hope that I can bring a Nidoqueen, but opponent's got a Golurk in the back, and so I'm in a bad situation here with this. But it's good that we kind of got this out, because Forretress really doesn't appreciate seeing it either. And Greninja should hopefully be able to get the farm down. However, they do not shield the Stone Edge, and instead they decide to go, I believe, for farm on the Carbink, which is incredibly painful. We do get 2 Mud Slaps in, though. And I bring in the Forretress to try and absorb this energy. The opponent going to go for a move right away. Rock Slide or Power Gem would be neutral, but they wanted to full send that Moonblast to get rid of my Greninja. But unfortunately for me, now the opponent has a non-Shadow Nidoqueen, which I believe the non-Shadow I mean, it's going to take the Sand Tombs a lot better than a Shadow would, but I have to start like dealing with Poison Fangs. I was hoping that I might be able to get them low enough with these Water Shurikens for a Sand Tomb to score a knockout. However, I've also unfortunately given my opponent a lot of free energy in trying to do this, and so maybe that was not quite the correct way to play this out. I feel like most of the losses I had with this team were just me kind of making like suboptimal plays and not doing the things that I could have done to win the game. This could be a Stone Edge. I have to shield it, right? But it's a Poison Fang, and the opponent has 2 Poison Fangs, which means now I definitely lose the game because they can just go for this Poison Fang damage, even though it's double resisted. They just bring in the Carbink. I can't withstand the Mud Slaps or the Rock Throws, and so the opponent is going to be able to take us out here with fast moves. But it was a very close game, and I definitely feel like I could have played that better. But good game to the opponent either way. Well played. All right, next game, we got Greninja on the lead versus another Greninja. Dude, the shiny Greninjas are coming out to play, and I'm so here for it, dude. I love shiny Greninja. It is so sick. Let me know in the comments what your favorite shiny Pokemon is, because mine is definitely Greninja. We're going to be going for a Night Slash here. This is where I started to try and figure out how to play this more optimally. So you're going to see the adjustment that I made from that first set when my chat was telling me to play this smarter because I'm a bozo. So we're going to go for a Hydro Cannon now. And you can see from the range that we're at, like a Hydro Cannon would do enough, right? Like, they're going to shield up, and that's fine. I'm going to take the shield advantage here. I'm hoping actually they go for a Night Slash, but I know they won't. Opponent full sense that Hydro Cannon, and I'm going to bring in Forretress, and the Bug Bites are going to start going to work. However, unfortunately for me, the opponent has enough energy to get to another move before I can farm them down, and they're going to get Hydro Cannon. That's going to do a lot of damage, and I'm going to hope that Nidoqueen can just clean up in the back. The opponent has Nidoqueen here, and I'm going to just go straight for the Sand Tomb with the Forretress because I can come in with my own Nidoqueen and start applying a ton of Mud Slap damage, especially because they're a Shadow. Look at it go, dude. Now, this is just a Poison Fang, but it still does some damage, and I need to shield it because, well, I didn't know there was a Charge Bug in the back, but I did not want to chance them staying in, getting more Mud Slaps in, and then that would have been a problem. So the opponent, however, having a Charge Bug in the back is fine. I'm going to shield up here just in case they have Crunch, because I've seen a few with Crunch. That would be the one way that my Nidoqueen gets taken out here. The opponent realizes that landing that Crunch was their only win condition, and they're going to go ahead and concede. Well played to them. All right, next game, Greninja against Golurk. This is a positive lead, right? But the thing is that Golurk can Mud Slap straight through. Now, the opponent safe switches into a Whimsicott, which I definitely was not. That was not on my bingo card of things I was expecting to see today. But I feel like this is a Nidoqueen bait out, so I'm going to bring in my Forretress instead. And probably regret that decision later, but we'll see what they have in the back here. I'm going to go for an Undercharge on the Rock Tomb because I want to try to get some extra energy here, but I didn't want to give them the opportunity to maybe take me out with a Moonblast here without, you know, anything. I mean, it would have been, I think I would have lived by like a little bit, but anyway, the Golurk is going to come back in. I'm just going to go for the Sand Tomb, drop their defense. Greninja's going to be able to do a little bit more damage with the Water Shurikens, which might be necessary here. Those Bug Bites also did a little bit of damage there. So the opponent now is going to swap out to catch on their Tinkaton. And now I see this was absolutely going to be their bait out for the Nidoqueen. I'm going to stay in, get a move banked, and then go right back in, or go right into my Nidoqueen here. And this is where I actually discovered that a Tinkaton can two-shot Nidoqueen if it's a Shadow, just about, with the Bulldoze, right? We're getting pretty low, and I got a defense drop, so I'm definitely going to get taken out by this next Bulldoze. I could come in with Greninja, but I'm actually going to just go for the farm here with the Nidoqueen, because I want to be able to get the... Dude, so much damage from those Mud Slaps after that debuff. The game was won off of fast moves. The opponent did not have enough on their Golurk for 2 moves, and so the best thing for me there was to not throw the energy and just go for the fast move damage, because that was going to do much more than a double resisted Poison Fang was going to do. Good game to the opponent. Next game, we got Greninja up on the lead versus Murkrow. I've seen a few of these, and I almost always will just assume that it's double ground poison in the back with Nidoqueen and Clodsire. So it's very important for me in this case to be able to save my Nidoqueen for later and try to make sure that we can outdo whatever their Nidoqueen has as far as HP is concerned. Like, I want to be able to put Forretress preferably onto the Nidoqueen and put our Nidoqueen onto the Clodsire if I can. Now, I get a really nice bailout here with a boost, but the opponent is able to make a last-second Drill Peck, and I have to shield this, right? Because the way that I win this game is going to be by dealing with the opponent with the energy that I have. Now, I probably should have swapped out and not given them all this extra farm, but I wanted to get this last shield because then I can put my Nidoqueen on their Nidoqueen. They're not likely to have Earth Power. Again, I'm not banking on them having Earth Power, so I'm just going to go ahead and bring in my Nidoqueen, and they just have Stone Edge Poison Fang, which is fine with me. Clodsire now comes in. I see the whole team. We have Forretress in the back. We're going to go for the Poison Fang, and I'm going to farm up until they get to their 8th Poison Sting, which would be them at a Earthquake. And then I'm going to swap straight to Forretress. And at this point, we're set. The Nidoqueen in the back is still healthy enough to be able to handle the opponent's Nidoqueen. The opponent's also taken a debuff. They're not going to like this Sand Tomb, and we're going to be able to get it off here before the opponent gets to another Earthquake, which is great. Now, the opponent full sends another Earthquake. Doesn't really matter what they do at this point, because they're never going to have 2 moves. And the opponent's going to swap in their Nidoqueen. They're going to go for a move. This could be a Stone Edge, as long as they don't have the ability to hit me with an Earthquake with that Clodsire. They're going to go straight for the Poison Fang, trying to drop the defense of my Forretress, but we're going to be able to overcome with the Nidoqueen. The opponent does have a move here, and they get to take us out with the Earthquake, but Forretress comes in for a Bug Bite and takes a victory for us. Good game. Well played to the opponent. All right, getting to the final game. We got a 3-1 set so far. We hit a really positive lead with Scizor. That's another one of the Pokemon that I really like having Greninja on the lead for, because it's able to resist those heavy-hitting bullet punches and really just threaten shields immediately. I will go for the Night Slash here. The opponent almost always will shield, and even if they don't, like, I can pretty much farm down after that Night Slash lands. Now, opponent is doing something strange here to me. They're going for a Night Slash bait right when they get to the Trailblaze. However, they're doing it on like that 1-2 instead of the 1-4-7 timing that I'm so used to, so it threw me off a little bit. Opponent does make a nice catch onto a Bombardier. They're on Sucker Punch, so I can absorb these fast moves nicely, go for a Hydro Cannon, pull the shield, and then come in with my Forretress, and up, 1-0 shields. I was thinking this was going to be an easy matchup, but the opponent's Fly does so much damage, and I have to get to a Rock Tomb to knock this thing out. I kind of want to farm down here, but I decide instead I'm going to give the energy to Greninja and farm down. Now, the opponent here is going to swap immediately, and that also throws me off. So opponent is just completely outplaying me at this point, and I have to shield. I was not expecting them to make that switch. It caught me off guard. Probably, this being my 5th set, I was probably getting a little bit tired, to be honest. The opponent has their own Nidoqueen in the back. I really should just go for a Stone Edge here, to be honest, because that would probably have done enough. And my Nidoqueen is pretty attack weighted. I am pretty sure that we would have been able to win the game. I think. Maybe. We'll see. I don't know. They still have a Bombardier with some health in the back. Earth Power. They had Earth Power. Dude, there was no way. But good game. The opponent played that very well and was very, very, very easy to take advantage of me in that one. But look, I got all the way through all the games. My brain shut off at the end of that game, dude. Oh, man. No, opponent played that very well. They played a little unorthodox. It took me off guard, and it definitely helped them win the game. But either way, dude, they still played that really well. We make expert rank here, and I am super stoked to have finally made it after being bullied around the Go Battle League for quite a little while here. And did that show expert? I don't even, dude, we're y'all can leave at this point if you want. Okay, it did. I was just talking, my brain shut off, and I didn't even register that it said that we hit expert. My goodness, man. Anyway, I hope you guys have some success with this team in the Halloween Cup this week. It was really awesome to be able to just come in day one and just hammer home expert on a really nice run with this team. I haven't done it in a while. Like, I feel like most of the time I think I have a team, and then the meta's like, nah. Anyway, I'm rambling. Thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. As always, bye-bye.